Orkestra, we produce a Basque Country Competitiveness Report every year, and in that we aim to analyse the competitiveness of the Basque Country compared to other European regions, to identify the key challenges we're facing, and also to open up a debate with the Basque society around how we address those challenges. Now this year of course has been quite extraordinary. The COVID pandemic has created new challenges for everybody, and so at this time of great uncertainty, I think this type of dynamic intelligence that the Basque Country Competitiveness Report can provide is especially useful for policymakers to help them make decisions as we move forward and try to face this pandemic. So this year's report, we've built it around the concept of resilience. We want to try and understand what makes the Basque Country economy resilient, and we're looking at that from different perspectives, from before the pandemic, the fundamentals of competitiveness that lead us in a better or worse position to face the pandemic, during the pandemic, the things that we're doing, the impacts that we're seeing during 2020 over the last 9 months or so, and finally looking to the future, trying to understand, well, what do we need to do to build resilience into the long term. First of all, I think generally we're at a time where nobody has the answers to the questions that we're being asked around how to deal with this pandemic and with the socio-economic consequences of it. So it's useful, just in general, to learn from other places. Not just useful, important, I think, to learn from other places and to understand what's happening in other places to improve how we do things. But more specifically with regards to the Basque Country, I think it's a very interesting case because it's actually been able to develop resilience over the long term quite successfully in the past. So we look back 40 years to another crisis, a very dark time for the Basque Country, very high unemployment. We've seen that in the 40 years since then there's been a real focus on building up industry, on supporting industry with science, technology and innovation investments, and critically on upgrading competitiveness in a way that tries not to leave people behind, what's often referred to here as competitiveness in solidarity. So I think it's a useful case because of those reasons, and in fact if we look at the results of the Basque Country today, in this report we see that it's in the top 30 regions in the EU in terms of GDP per capita, a key economic indicator, but it's also in the top 30 EU regions in terms of having a low risk that its population falls into poverty or becomes excluded, and that again is a very important social indicator. So yes, I think it's an interesting case at the time now to look at and to see, well, what's happening in the Basque Country, what is the Basque Country doing, but it's also vice versa. It's interesting to look elsewhere from here and see what's happening in other places. And in this report we also undertake a comparative analysis with Baden-Württemberg and Upper Austria, two regions that are quite similar to the Basque Country in terms of their industrial structure. So we're aiming to look to see how are the policy responses differing across those regions.